Welcome back to another episode of Discovercars. Today we have a very special car, the 2019 Porsche Cayenne S. It's a wicked car. I can't wait to show you around. So let's have a look at this thing. The revised version of the Porsche Cayenne came out earlier this year in 2018. With that, it came with revised engines, revised body styling, revised handling, revised everything, including the interior. So when you look in the inside, you notice there are no physical buttons. This is part of Porsche's movement towards a more contemporary and modern look. So if you're looking for the ultimate family car, the Porsche Cayenne is probably my favorite. It just eliminates that body roll, that heaviness, that weight, that ugliness of SUVs, and it sort of puts it into this nice package where it truly is a Porsche. Early Cayennes were really focused on off-roading, big V8s, big loungy things, and it's had a Porsche badge on them. But as they refined them and they moved on generations, they understood that low center of gravity handling was really important, and also that the customers really use these cars on road. The Cayenne is the ultimate family vehicle. The Macan's a great small size SUV, but if you have any more than 4 people traveling with you, or if you want to carry 4 people's luggage, that's when the Cayenne steps in, and it really is the original Porsche SUV. Now down at the front of the Cayenne, there are some new slats down here, and it actually has active aero, allowing more airflow to go in when the engine needs it. Cayenne at the front also has these new lights, new front end, a lot steeper and sharper. Down here you have Porsche Brakes, and I know this is for a lot of people. They go, yeah, great, it's got brakes, that's what you expect on a car. Nothing brakes as well as a Porsche. You ask anyone that, these brakes will perform time and time again. These are really the only brakes that I trust if you ever want to take this out to a track day. I mean, some people do. And at the back of the Cayenne S is what makes it distinctive as a Cayenne S compared to normal Cayennes. You have these quad pipes. I think they look really cool. However, it doesn't come standard with a sports exhaust. That's an option. So if you want that V6 to sing, you're probably better off getting the sports exhaust. Otherwise, the standard tips do look the part. So you also got this light bar that runs across the back. It just gives it a distinctive look. Whenever you see it, there's no denying that is the new Cayenne. It is also part of Porsche's new design language and updated looks, which came with the Panamera. And I think with the new Cayenne, you take a step back and you realize this behemoth looks good. You know, if it looks the part, it's going to play the part as well. So let's jump on the interior and we'll walk around this new buttonless future. Welcome to the interior of the Porsche Cayenne S. Here, you're surrounded by tons of screens and lots of buttons. Don't let that scare you though. That's the one thing that people look at and they get really scared. But there's nothing really to be too afraid of. Straight away you see a lot of buttons and dials and you're going, alright, well, it's going to take me a while to get used to this. But the cool thing with Porsche is that it's one button for one function. So you see a whole bunch of buttons, they're all labeled. As long as you can read buttons, you'll be fine. So you have sport mode. You press sport and it's not going to take you to any sub menus, anything like that. It's just going to make the car go into sport mode. You have a shock absorber here. You go, oh my gosh, what does that do? Is that, you know, set off-road mode? Is that, you press it, there's 2 red little icons. You make sure you press them, and obviously the more red icons, the more firmer your suspension is. If you want to go off-road, there is an off-road button there that will take you straight there. There is also, if you want to set up your phone, you press, guess what button? Yeah, phone. You also press nav for sat nav, everything. I could go on and on and on about this infotainment system. It's incredible, but on the outside, it's not as scary as it looks. Your steering wheel is perfectly presented to you. My honest opinion with the Porsche driving experience in the SUVs is that it's unmatched from what I've experienced. You're sitting more in the car than on it. If you've ever sat in an SUV, you realize you sit really high up and your bonnet is really low down, but in this car, everything's sort of just wrapped around you, just like a sports car. You have the same and similar steering wheel from your sports cars shared across the range. You have beautiful aluminium paddles, plenty of tech, And I mean, plenty of tech, like you have surround view cameras, front and back sensors, everything you need to do to keep you on the road. You can also have things optioned like a heads up display. This has blind spot monitoring. There's plenty of tech in here. What I love is that the dials in front of me, the single one that is most important to Porsche obviously is the Rev Counter, and all across their cars since the early 70s and since they say 70 years ago when they had the Rev Counter right in front of your face. They've kept that. Even in the Cayenne, that hasn't been neglected. You don't get two ugly dials where your Rev Counter is a beautiful, traditional, real dial in front of you. Flanking it, however, are two screens, and they're mimicking those Porsche dials that go across from the center Rev Counter. You've got a left side that'll give you speed and trip information. You've got the right side, which will give you outside temp and whatnot. The left side, these little thumb dials here, these came from the 918 Spider, which are really, really cool. Also from the Macan, and now in the Cayenne. Left one is for your traditional sort of, you know, trip data, basic data that you'd have on a basic setup of a car. On the right is my favorite. You can flick through and start changing menus, and you can look at everything from oil temperature, traditional sort of items, to even have sat nav come up there on your screen while you're driving, which is just so much better than looking down at this gigantic screen. I mean, I love the screen, but your eyes are darting off the road. If your eyes are always on the road, it's gonna be right there. This is what's different from this and the standard Cayenne. This comes with the air suspension, which is that sports button here. You also have the same suspension button here on the normal springs, but it is more apparent in the air suspension function because you can deflate and inflate the bags, and also better for off-roading if you ever take the car off-road. You've also got heated front seats as standard. You've got a Bose surround system, which just sounds amazing. Power steering plus, so it's a Porsche thing. So when you're driving along the shopping center and you're trying to find a park and you're driving a 2-ton SUV, you don't really want the weight of 2 tons behind your steering wheel, otherwise it's going to get pretty tiring pretty quick. So that's why this Power Steering Plus lightens up the steering when you're doing low speeds, making it super easy to maneuver. But then I want to put in sports mode, I want to have some weight behind the steering wheel, I want to hit some corners, the car's hunkered down, the steering then weights up. It then gives you the weight, gives you the steering feedback, so you're not throwing away on the steering wheel and offsetting the car. It gives you a really, really good feedback. So Porsche Steering Plus is standard on this car. Quad pipes at the back, distinctive to the Cayenne S. It is not the sports exhaust system, just quad tips, but you can option a sports exhaust system to open up and give a bit more sound to it. And finally, also your panoramic sunroof. This isn't entirely necessary, but you do get it with the Cayenne S. It does make for a very nice view. Now this is the main reason why you get a Cayenne. These massive seats at the back. You can easily sit 5 people for a comfortable long journey, but it's really sort of grooved out with these nice bolsterings on the side for normally 4 people quite comfortably. But that's not to say this middle seat is very usable. These seats do move forward and backwards, and a little bit up and down. So this is your very upright position. And if you want to relax a little bit, you pull the lever, bring it back a little bit, and then you get a normal, very relaxed ride. The only reason you have it upright like that is to give you a bit more cargo space. You also have this very nice center console for the back seats, and also 2 USBs at the back. It's a super practical family car. If you're just buying it for yourself as well, your friends are gonna love you for having this car. It's a great place to be at the back. Like I said, there's nothing cheap about the Porsche interior, nor you'd want it to be, but it is good to know that you're not gonna get any hidden secret plastics that you didn't know about. Everything's nice to touch. So welcome to the rear of the Cayenne. This is, again, where the Cayenne shines and the reason why you would probably get it. There's a massive amount of space in here. Right now I've got my camera equipment in. I was gonna take it out, but you can sort of see for perspective of what it looks like. Also a really cool thing to note, if your suspension is high on the air suspension on the Cayenne S, you open up the rear tailgate and the Cayenne's going to automatically know you're going to want to put stuff in here, so it lowers down for you. Just like it's just trying to serve you and please put stuff in the back of the Cayenne, the air suspension will drop, which is really cool. So don't be afraid if that happens, it's normal. Now the Cayenne has a three-way split seat. So the middle can go down, the two sides can go down. This is a favorite seat configuration from someone like myself because I've experienced what happens on long journeys when you have a 60-40 split. And oh boy, can I tell you, you don't become friends with the person you're sitting next to for a long trip because you end up just elbowing them and telling them to get out of the way just because the suitcase didn't go down the middle or went down the side. You do have a really cool button in here that allows you to lower and raise the air suspension on the back, allowing it for ease of access to put your stuff in, and that's why people get the air suspension. It's just really more comfortable, allows for a bit more customization, and allows for things like that, like convenience features. Now, moving from the outside, the next logical step is to hear what this thing sounds like from the outside and take it for a drive. Now what's really cool is that you get a 360-degree camera with the actual car while you're reversing, which is just wicked because you can see everything around you and it's pretty much a 3D view. It's not like Lamborghini's system where you see a 3D model of yourself. It just feels so easy to drive. That's partly due to the Porsche, the Power Steering Plus. It's really easy to handle. It's really nice, and you can feel the steering just slowly stiffen up as you start getting moved on. Now, the thing with Porsche's SUVs is that, like I said, they were originally a off-roader, but now they've sort of changed to like an on-road sort of experience. It sits flat, goes to a corner really nice, and that's just not even on sports mode. If I change this thing into sports mode, which I'll do just very shortly, here we go. So, change into sport, and suspension firms up just by half, and everything becomes a bit more lively. So yeah, V6, it sounds really good. I love the way this V6 sounds. It sounds wicked. So easy and so manageable to just drive. Driving the Porsche Cayenne is super easy. It's the classic sports car experience, and as you can hear, that V6 sounds amazing. It's such a great experience. I mean, it gives you, like I said, the best of both worlds. You get a sports car, Porsche car, and then you also get an SUV with the practicality, which is just incredible. So it's time to give this car a Discovercars score. So this is a Porsche, it is the Cayenne S. However, it is an SUV, and we're here to test really fun, really cool cars. This is definitely up there. It is a fun and cool car, don't get me wrong. But an SUV is still gonna have some issues as an SUV. It's still gonna weigh over 2 ton. And for that just little factor, it's brought it down to a 7 out of 10. Otherwise, if you're looking at Cayman or Boxer, it'd just be a little bit higher. Performance, it's no slouch. It's a 2.9 litre V6 twin turbocharged engine, producing around 440 horsepower, 0 to 100 in just about 5 seconds. That is plenty of performance. However, the Trackhawk exists. Just because that car exists with 707 horsepower and goes 0 to 100 in just over 3 seconds, unfortunately, that brings the performance figure down to 7 out of 10. Now, if we're looking at practicality, the only thing that does not make it a 10 out of 10 is because it's not a truck. So that's why we're going for a 9 out of 10. It's got plenty of cargo space, 3 seats that fold down independently. You don't need any more space than you would in a Cayenne unless you're planning to build a house from scratch with nothing else but a Cayenne. The daily score, that is a super strong 8 out of 10. Just because it is an SUV, it will be a tiny bit thirsty because of the weight, but the new V6 brings it a lot more closer to a dailyable car because it is not drinking fuel like a 6.2 litre supercharged V8. It also is super comfy, super practical, moving on from the practicality score, and also surprisingly easy to park with all those new features that makes it a lot better as a daily. However, just the sheer size of it and also the fuel consumption, even though it is low, it's not going to be as good as something that is like closer to an electric car or even the e-hybrid. So the daily score is a strong 8 out of 10. It's a great daily car. It is a great car in practicality. It's got plenty of power, and it is a Porsche, say no more. It is very cool. So that is why it gets a very strong Discovercars score of 7.75 out of 10. So this has been a 2019 Porsche Cayenne S. You can read more of my thoughts at Hunter and Bly on their website, and my car blog that I have on there called Car Hunter. It's something I've just started up. I've written my first article that's coming out this Sunday. So if you want to read that, I'm going to be posting it on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere where I can post this, so you can have a read of that. That's on the Trackhawk. But coming on early January, I'll be having my thoughts written up about the Cayenne S. But if you're subscribed or happen to catch this video before it's gone onto the website, then this has been your look at the 2019 Porsche Cayenne S. Thank you for your time, and feel free to subscribe and also like this video. It really helps. Drop a comment. Would you have this car? Would you take this over any other SUV? Please propose a better SUV than the Cayenne S, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So if you subscribe and like, you'll be able to keep track of everything that we do. More videos to come, heaps of more fun content with our partnership with Hunter and Bly. It's going to be a hectic year. You guys are going to love it. The content's going to be hopefully very fun for you guys to watch. So keep in contact, keep subscribed, like, comment. We'll see you next time.